So today I'm talking about a Honda with the P1163 code, what it is and how you go about fixing it. So what is a Honda P1163 code? Well, it's an air-fuel ratio sensor 1 slow response. And what does this mean? Well, the onboard computer uses sensors on the exhaust to know how much oxygen's been burnt off during combustion, and it's seen the air with one of these sensors, so it has to be troubleshooted to know why. And some of the possible causes, well, it could be a bad sensor, it could be something in the wiring like an open or a short or something along these lines, and it possibly could be something like an exhaust manifold leak or a leaky fuel injector or something along these lines. Although usually when you get those, you'll get another code, but it is something to keep in mind that there might be some other problem that's just throwing off the sensors from getting the correct reading. Usually you'll get other codes when you get these two. And so there's going to be multiple oxygen sensors on the exhaust, and it's really going to vary on the Honda. Some of them can have 2, some of them can have 4 or 5 or more. And the basics of what's going on with these is you're going to have an upstream sensor, which is called sensor 1, which is before the catalytic converter. And then you're going to have a sensor 2, also called the downstream oxygen sensor, which is after the catalytic converter. And so the first thing to do is to go locate this upstream sensor 1 oxygen sensor, and they can be located differently. You can use Google, look at the Google images and see for your particular Honda, because they can be located down underneath like this. Sometimes they're located up on the top of the engine like this, on the exhaust manifold, up inside the engine compartment. So again, it just varies. So first thing to do is go find that upstream oxygen sensor. And once you find it, the next thing to do is going to be to examine the harness that plugs in, because any bad wiring, open, short, anything like this is going to cause the same issues as a bad sensor. So you want to check that out and be aware that this is on a fuse and quite often a relay. So it just varies. So like in this image, the AF heater would be the relay, and over here the AF heater would be the fuse that controls the oxygen sensors. So that's just something to keep in mind, that if the fuse goes bad, or if there is a relay and it goes bad, then it can cause issues. And this is usually inside the engine compartment. There'll be a fuse box that'll have the fuse inside of it. And so if you check that out, the wiring all looks good, there's no issue there, then very likely you're going to have to replace the upstream oxygen sensor. And one thing to keep in mind when you go to replace these is that sometimes you need this special tool to get them in and out. It just varies on the Hondas. If they're down on the exhaust, quite often you can use an open-end wrench. But the ones that are on the exhaust manifold, sometimes they're recessed in, and you have to have this special socket to go around the wire to get them back in. So again, it could vary, but go and look. If it does look like it's recessed in like that, then you might want to get that special socket tool so that you can get it back into place easier. And so what do you do if you have a Honda with the P1163 code? Well, first thing to do, locate that sensor 1 oxygen sensor on the exhaust, also called the upstream, located on your particular engine and exhaust. Once you do, check out the wiring real good. Be sure that wiring looks plugged in. There's no open shorts or anything like this, because bad wiring can cause problems. Be sure there's no blowing fuse. There'll be a fuse box in the engine compartment that's on this circuit. Be sure it hasn't blown or anything like that. And there might be a relay, and you might want to check that out if there is too. If that all looks good, then you can either test or replace the oxygen sensor. Most people would just go and replace it, because it's very likely that's the problem at this point. And so that's basically it. I just want to give a real quick brief overview of how you go about fixing a Honda with the P1163 code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.